Well, hey everyone, it's 7Demo7 and this is the Hobby King Slowpoke. Now I've been flying this airplane for the last week and a half or so. I probably have about 15 or 20 flights on it. And I just want to go over the whole airplane, how I feel about it, what it flies like, and some of the things to watch out for. So stay tuned. Actually, honestly, when I first looked at this airplane, I thought it wasn't for me. I was one of those airplanes that you kind of stand back and you kind of go, yeah, I kind of like it, I kind of don't, but then I kept looking at it, and finally I decided to contact Hobby King and see if they would send me one for a review. So this Slowpoke was sent to me by Hobby King, so you guys know. I'm going to give you my honest opinions about it. There's some things that I like and some things that I don't. Now, the standout features of this airplane, number one, is the scale-looking engine, the really cool pilot, these guide wires here for the wings and the tail. They're really, really neat. They've got these little springs on it. And also just the real thickness of the wing. That tends to designate this airplane as a Slowpoke. It's the really wide wing chord and the wing thickness as well. Now, as far as any modifications that I did to the model, I did very few. The one thing that I did to the landing gear here, as you'll see, the landing gear is actually splayed out a little bit wider. The angle here is a lot wider than it used to be. When it was stock, the landing gear here was much narrower and it had a tendency to kind of tip over when it was landing. So what I did is I bent the landing gear outwards and compensated the tire angle so it would be straight. So I just bent it in a vise. It was quite easy to do. It's a nice little modification. And after that, my landings were much, much better. The other modification that I did that you probably don't need to do is I changed the wheels to some true foam wheels. It did soften the landings even more so that was pretty cool as well. The other suggestion that I would do is I would actually run this airplane off of a 4S instead of a 3S. 3S is just fine. It's good for flying around. This airplane does get quite slow, and when you get into an emergency situation, you want a little bit of extra power to help throttle you out of those situations. And that's what I like about the 4S. I don't necessarily like it for speed, even though this thing does go quite fast. You do want to keep the CG right between about 80 and 85 millimeters. If you're at 85 millimeters, I would have the CG tip forward just a little bit towards the nose. I find that to be the most stable. Now, because of the short nose to tail length, the plane is actually quite aerobatic, so it'll turn on a dime. You can do all kinds of acrobatics with it. The rudder is actually quite effective, and it handles knife edges really, really nice. So this is quite a scale airplane, and it's quite an aerobatic airplane as well. And it slows down really, really nice. Now, as far as the elevator goes, I would make sure that you have the maximum throw on the elevators, because when you bring it in, you want to be able to tip the airplane up and actually slow it down. Well, actually, at my airfield, that's what I need to do, because we have a very short landing runway, as you guys know, and it's slightly downhill, so you want to stop. So maybe if you're flying in a grass field where you can just put down the front landing gear first, that would be nice as well. As far as criticisms go about this airplane, it would just be the landing gear. I would definitely splay it out to make it a little bit wider and more stable. That's a really quick fix for anybody that's flying this airplane. The underside landing gear retainer bolts were the heads were a little bit too small, and I actually snapped the landing gear out one time. Replace these two bolts with self-tapping threaded screws that have a larger head on it. It's not a big deal on that. And suggestions for the future, if they have a future version of this airplane, it's hard to insert the battery with the Velcro that's right here. I would extend this pilot portion that comes off, just extend it forward a little bit, maybe to about here, and then put a battery tray in there where we actually have a Velcro strap that we can strap the battery down. Because right now, when you put the battery in, you really have to kind of scooch it in there, and once it's down on its the Velcro, sometimes it's hard to pull the battery back out. That would be a real nice touch for this airplane. But other than that, I think this airplane is really, really nice.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby, dude. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, guys, be careful with the horizontal stabilizer. I actually glued mine on a slight bit crooked. Everything keys together in the front here, very, very nice in the front, but I didn't realize the back wasn't fully lined up, so I was actually able to correct that. It's still a little bit off, but I tell you, the plane flies really, really nice. So Hobby King, I think they did a really good job on this airplane. It's stout, the motor's powerful, and I would highly recommend this airplane. I'm having so much fun with it. Actually, all the guys up here at Kite Hill, when they see it, they're like, that's a really cool airplane. And I've had a couple of the guys fly it, and they really, really like it as well. So with that being said, guys, thanks for joining my channel, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye. Well, hello friends, that wasn't planned. I broke my prop. Darn it. Looks like the motor's okay here. Pop the little engine cover off of that. Let me put that in my pocket. Doesn't look bad for hitting the ground so hard. Oh man, look at the scrunchy there. Ah, what a bummer. What a bummer. I was getting too zesty. Definitely getting too zesty. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you crash your Slowpoke into a tree and accelerate into the ground. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.